Hi everybody, and welcome to this webinar, which will be about the accounting of Axelor, with Yash, who will be presenting you the accounting and the feature of our accounting module. So I will start with a small introduction of Axelor for those who do not know us, and then Yash will take the leads on the accounting webinar, and then you will have some time to ask questions. So as you know, Axelor is a ERP, CRM, and BPM solution based on the LowCode platform. LowCode, NoCode. So that means you can create any business application within the ERP without coding anything. A little bit of our history. So Axelor has been created in 2005. We launched the first version of Axelor in 2014, and after 7 years of development, so we have having approximately 80% of growth per year now. We are 145 employees, and we have more than 35 users on enterprise license. Plus, so we have our partner model, which give the ability to some company in their own country to resell the solution. So for the partner program, inside the partner program we are offering some training, some support, etc. So if you want to know more about the partnership program, you can at any point contact us directly, and we'll be sending you all the details regarding that. Why we are different from the other ERP? The first thing is that we are a fully modular application. So you can start with one business application, and then later on you can install other modules. Due to the low-code and no-code technology, you can just adapt the business need in real time. Also, same because of our technology, you will be able to do a faster integration and obviously a cheaper integration if needed. So we are working with various different clients, such as public sector, so the Prime Minister of France, the Minister of Justice, but we are also working with energy provider. We are working with car industry. We are working with the train industry also. So due to the fact that you can adapt Axelor, you can sell Axelor or use Axelor according to your own industry. And we have some of our partners. And yes, I will give the lead to Yash now. And he will be presenting you Axelor Accounting.
Okay, thank you, Hortense. So welcome everyone who has joined for today's webinar. And today's webinar will be focused completely on the accounting side of Axelor OpenSuite. We are going to see how the accounting application, which is a core business process in any company, whenever there's a business process, a business entity, along with the other processes that run within a company, whether it's a product base or a service base, accounting is one thing that is the most crucial, because it gives you the picture of the complete picture of how your company is actually performing in today's time. So I'm just gonna share my screen, and in today's webinar, I'm gonna cover some of the functionalities that are offered in the accounting application of Axelor, and we are gonna see how the accounting application, along with the invoicing, helps you to streamline your business transactions, maintain or keep your books, that is your general ledger, And along with that, how to manage your taxes, how you can do automatic journal entries, the manual ones also, plus the reporting side, how the financial reports can be generated through the accounting software. And in the end, if time permits, we are also going to see a way how you can use the analytical accounting on your projects, or to do cost accounting for internal purpose. So to start with, as I'm already logged into my instance, I'm just gonna maybe zoom it a little bit so it's visible to everyone. Okay. So as soon as we log in, on the left-hand side panel, all the applications which are currently installed from the Axelor OpenSource modules are visible, and they are ready for use for mapping the business processes. In this webinar today, I'm not going to talk much or give an introduction about the different applications here, but we are going to see some of the applications which are somehow directly linked with the accounting application also. So before moving into the functionality of the accounting application, I want to go into the application config in the apps management, where I can see get the list of all the applications which are currently installed or not installed. And here in each application, you can also see that either there's a button called uninstall if you don't want to use those particular applications. Plus you have a button for configuring. So if the first step that we actually do before using any of the functionality for any application is to do the configuration for that particular application. So since this webinar is more concentrated on the accounting side, so I'm just going to look into and discuss more about the different settings available in the accounting application. So if we go and click into the accounting configurations, so we see some of the general features or functionalities which can be enabled or disabled based on a particular use case. So if you would want to use analytical accounting for internal cost mapping, for estimation of your revenues and expenses based on different departments, on different business unit, so you can enable it and then you can be able to use it. So similarly, we have some other functionalities too. For example, manage factors, payment vouchers on supplier invoice, and if you also want to manage financial discount on your product, so you can enable it, and this will give you the functionality of managing the discounts on your purchase orders or even your sales orders. Then we also have the cutoff period. This is quite useful when you want to do your periodical closing of the year. So once you enable it on each invoicing, you have to specify the cutoff period, and during the year closure, this comes more into the picture of how to use it. Then you can also allow multiple invoice terms. So we are going to talk about more into how the invoicing works, the accounts payable, the account receivable, and what all functionalities you have on the invoicing side also. So these are the general ones applicable to all the companies that you have set up on any particular instance. Currently on my instance, I'm only have created one particular company, and to view all the companies created, you can go into the user companies and say which company you are currently managing the instance for. So if you want to manage specific configuration for the companies, you can also go from the company and open the relevant application, or the other way is to also go into the particular application config, and then below there, if you scroll down, you will see the company name and you can open up this thing. So the first thing that actually comes into running the accounting process is you need a chart of account. So the chart of account is the basic, or I would say the first step of managing your accounting process. And to do that, you can import a chart of account by using the account chart field. Currently, I have already imported one of the chart of accounts. If I would want to view the contents of this particular chart of account, I can just for a while disable it. And now if I would want, I can also select another chart of account which is available, or I can create a new one. So if you want to create or load a new one, you can import your own chart of account in a zip format, and in that zip format you can attach your CSV file. So to get the format in which you can upload your chart of account, you can use the already existing funds chart of account and see, and you can download the zip file um, which contains all the different files which are currently loaded when you import it. So the first file is actually the main file is the chart of account, where you list down all your different accounts, and it's a very simple one. If you download the zip file, you will see that within 3-4 columns you have to specify your parent and main code for all of your chart of account, then the account name, and then the account type. So once you import the chart of account, and if it is loaded correctly, how to check if it is properly imported into the system? So for that, you can go into the accounting application, and under the configuration, you have the financial and your chart of account. So here, all the accounts that you imported in the zip file or the CSV file that you created will be loaded down here. And you can see that the setup is done in such a way that it gives you a parent-child hierarchy format, and the balance sheet accounts, which will contain your assets and liability along with equities, and then the management account, also known as profit and loss accounts, which will comprise of your expense and revenues account. So you can format or create your chart of account in any way in which you're using, and this can be done in the CSV file that you use for importing it. Once the chart of account is imported, all the accounts can be visible under the financial accounts. So here you can see all the different accounts which were created, along with the code for those accounts, their account type, and the default common position, whether it's a debit type or credit type, plus if it is also linked with a parent account. So all the accounts are listed here. You can also modify after importing them, or you can also create a new different account at any point of time if you would want to have more accounts now in your chart of account. So if you just see one of the account, what all functionalities we have within the account. So this just gives you the list of transactions where this particular account is being used, along with what is the current balance. And under the settings, you can change the or select the particular account type, whether it is of asset, it is a cash, charges, which is expenses, then current asset, debt. So different account types which are already pre-embedded into the system, and you can select any one of them from here. Then if you also want taxes to be used whenever this account is being directly used in the transactions for the general entries in the invoicing, you can enable this. And then you can also select the default tax which will be used for whenever this particular account is being used in the moves lines. For now, I'm just gonna disable it and move it back. So as I was saying, so all the accounts will be listed here. And now how to use these accounts for automating your processes. So the usual problem with most of the accountants is it takes too much time to create a journal entry and to create a manual one, select the relevant accounts, and then log a particular transaction in the books. To make it faster, when you have several purchase orders, sales order, when you have several customer invoices that you want to have your transactions logged down, you can set up these accounts for default usage whenever any particular transaction is being hit. So how to use it? We have to go back into the account configuration, and if you just scroll down in the accounting tab, we have some fields which helps you to map your financial accounts and setting up the default account which are going to be used when transactions are going to be done. So I'm gonna show you run a small process of a purchase order and show you how these accounts are actually going to be used for automatic journal entries and faster processes. This also reduces the problem of errors the accountants usually do, because once the accounts are already listed here, so there are minimal chances that the account is going to be changed unless somebody deliberately does it. But otherwise, by default, the system will pick up these accounts only. So the customer account, which is more specific to the your AR account, your account receivable, so you can specify here. There are multiple ways, so I'm gonna also talk about it. Like in a lot of cases, there are business owners who use different customer account for each customer. So per customer, there is a different account. And so in that case, how would this be impacted? So in case, if you are using one customer account for all the customer, so you can set it up here. If in case you want to use one customer account per each customer, so those can be actually done within the customer form also. So I'm going to show you that also quickly, because it's quite crucial for running the automatic process. So for that, if we go into the partners and open up any of the customer form, so here also you have the accounting situation, and you can select the default customer account to be used whenever a sales is happening, and the default account to be used when a purchase is happening with this particular vendor or customer. So if you set it up here, so the system will automatically take it from here, because there is a hierarchy set up in the system already. So if this is null, and if this is empty, then the system will take it from what is set up here. If there is already an account listed here, then the system will take it up from here rather than the account listed in the customer account. So in case if it is missing on the customer form, it will take it up from here, or otherwise it will take up from the customer form. The same it goes for the supplier account also. If you have multiple accounts for each supplier, so you can set it up on the supplier form itself, or in other cases, the system will take by default from here. Then for your HR, for your payrolls, whenever the monthly payroll payments are being done, so you can set up the employee account also here. The other way, you can also do it per employee or per department if you have it like that too. Cutoff accounts, again, if you are managing your cutoff periods too, so you can set it up here. Then annual closure. So these are crucial when you are closing the financial years. And at that point of time, you want to move your profit and loss balance to opening and closing balance accounts. So because your P&L accounts will be zeroed down, and all the profit and loss balances will be transferred to your equity accounts. So in that case, you can use or set up the default accounts. These are helpful when you run the year closure process. So there is an automatic batch which you can run to close your accounts, and the system will automatically check all your books before closing the financial period. Then the other fields also. So if you are already using Axelor or you have downloaded, I would really recommend you to just go through the different fields or accounts that you can set up to manage your different automatic processes of accounting. Moving forward, within the account configuration, you also have the invoicing, where you can set up the sequences for invoice for your customer, for your suppliers, and then some printing setting, which are mostly used in case of how your display address is being done on the invoicing. So this is mostly related to the invoicing, but it is also very useful when you want to set a particular format for printing your customer or supplier invoices, and if you're sending them as an attachment or directly from the sales order itself too. So you can set up the terms and conditions here, and this will automatically be attached on your invoices when you print them. Then the generals. In Axelor Accounting, we use generals to categorize different kind of transactions into different categories. So when we talk about different categories, so a transaction can be of a type sales, it could be a purchase, it could be just a manual adjustment entry, it could be miscellaneous, it could be a refund also. So we can set up those categories here under the journals, and whenever a transaction is being done, it is also put up under the category as per specified in the journal entry. So these are the main ones, at least to get going, and then the other ones you can also explore to see if these are also quite useful as you run your accounting processes. So I would really like to emphasize on this, that the accounting application of Axelor is a pretty mature one and is quite usable, at least in the EU region. Most of these standard compliances and other processes are already present and has been being upgraded from time to time to incorporate the new changes also done by the governments. So these are the standard configurations that we have to do in initially. Once we do it, we can now see what all functionalities we can manage through the accounting application. So if we go into the accounting application, the first thing which we see is the moves. Here we can see the different journal entries, or this is more like the general ledger. So all the different transactions that are being conducted, and the journal entries that have been logged into your books can be viewed under the move lines. And here you can see the different code sequences, the period in which the journal entry was logged, the general in which it was categorized, the partner, who's the supplier or the customer, and then the particular journal account which was hit during that particular transaction, whether it was debited, credited, and if there was also a tax associated with it, and the status of it, whether it's currently in the day book stage or if it is in accounted. The day book stage is something more like a temporary bookkeeping. So until you are 100% sure that your journal entries are now complete and there are no more edit or changes to be done, you can, until then, you can keep it in the day book stage. And once you are sure and you want to confirm it, you can move it into the account stage. So once you move a move line into an account, so then it becomes like a permanent journal entries, and then the system won't allow you to change things into it. You can also export all the journal entries if you would want. You can just select which one you would want, or even use the particular filter if you would want to just see for a particular month or period, and then basically just use the filter option to export all of them if you would want to export all the data into your Excel. So to see how an automatic journal entry is logged, we can run a purchase order process. So for that, we create a new purchase quotation, select a particular supplier, let's say, and if they have their tax number, you can set it up, and the default currency in which you are operating the transactions or purchasing from the supplier, select the different product and click on OK. So let's say you have already requested for the quotation and it is confirmed, and now you want to receive the product. So until this period of time, no journal entry has been hit because you have not even received the product. You're just going to receive it today and put up the supplier reference number. and realize it. So the moment you realize it, the stock moves into your inventory, and now you can generate an invoice from it. Yes, we want to invoice all the contents, and as we can see, all the information related to the business user and the supplier or the customer information is also pre-filled. All we have to do is just put up the supplier invoice as soon as you receive the invoice from the supplier. Just put up the supplier invoice number and the origin date, which would signify the day which you receive the invoice from the customer, from the supplier. Nothing to change here, and you can validate it. So as of now, we are just validating our invoice. And now if you want to log the journal entry for this particular invoice, all we have to do is just ventilate it. Now, before ventilating it, you want to check or verify that this particular journal entry will hit which particular accounts. So those can be managed under the accounting tab. So here you can see that the default journal selected is the purchase, and my default partner account is been selected. If I would want to change, I can change anyone from the list. Make sure that currently it is actually only giving you the accounts which are related to of type payment payable. So this is more of the account type. So accounts which are of account type payable are only going to be viewed here, and you can select only those ones. Now, but this is only one of the account. Where is the other account which is also going to be hit because we use double bookkeeping method? So that is going to be under the product line itself. You can go into the accounting, and this is your product account that is going to be hit. You can either specify the expense account, or if you want to change the account, you can also change the other way around too. So as of now, we just want to keep the default account, and we are just going to ventilate it. On ventilation, the system will generate the accounting entry for it, and this can be viewed under the move number. And as we can see, our AP account, the accounts payable, got hit for 77.76 euros, and my expense account along with the tax account too. Now, currently I'm just keeping it in the daybook stage, and once you have done the payment to the customer or to the supplier, you can come back to the invoice and just register payment from it. So before you register payment, there are other couple of things that you can also change. Now see, there are two different fields. One is the payment mode and the payment condition. So the payment condition cannot be changed once you ventilate an invoice. Now, in the payment condition, you specify the terms and condition which you have already pre-agreed with the supplier or the vendor, that as a customer, I'm going to pay you after 30 days or 15 days. So depending upon which one I have selected. And you can also specify multiple payment lines if you are distributing the payment into several terms, like if it's 20%, 30%, and then 50% in 3 lines. So those also you can specify here. Then you can also choose your preferred payment mode here. Now, each payment mode also has a functionality linked to it. This is when you want the system to do automatic payment also. So I'm gonna touch the payment part a little bit later. As of now, it's depending upon which payment mode you did the payment to the supplier. You can select one of them and you can register payment. So let's say we did all the payment in one go and click on OK. So as soon as you did the payment, so now the amount due is €0. And to see which journal entry is now created, you can go into the payment details. And under the payment details, a new journal entry has been generated, which just simply moves our AP account to be debited and your main bank account to be credited. So we just saw how quickly And in a very automatic way, we can run the whole order to procure to pay cycle, and also locking down your journal entries in the process simultaneously. And it's a very fast way to do it. Once you set up the default accounts either on the customer form, the product form, or the accounting configuration, it is very easy to just create an invoice and log the journal entries related to it. So the invoice created for any particular purchase order, sales order can be viewed under the invoicing. If in case you have a very different process, and let's say you are not using the purchase application to manage all your order to procure to pay cycle, so you can also come to the invoicing application and you go into the supplier invoices and you can create a new one. And here you can also select the type of invoice you want to categorize it into, and the whole information is going to be here too. As of now, since it's not linked to purchase order, you have to select the partner details again, and then you have to select the product or something that you have purchased and you want to invoice, or you want to create an invoice to it. The process is the same as we showed it for the automatic process way. This is more like a manual way, in which you do all the things yourself. And here, as you can see, that currently these are empties. You can select based upon what kind of method you are doing. Moving forward, so let's say instead of purchasing, you had sold something to a customer and the customer has probably returned it back to you. And now how do you initiate the refund? So for the refund, there are a couple of ways. You can always go into the customer invoice for a particular customer, and under the accounting itself, you have the option of generate refund, and this will just create a new customer refund invoice and a separate entry which will nullify the previous entry which was done for the customer invoice. So give it a try how the generate refund process works, and if it is able to balance the previous entries which were created when you ventilated a customer invoice. In the meanwhile, we'll now see some of the other functionalities which we have in the accounting. So under the payments menu, you have payment sessions. So these are more helpful when you want to create payment sessions. So once you have received the product, or once you want to now pay to customer, you can create a new payment session. You can select your payment mode and a particular journal, and then search the relevant lines, which will give you the lines of the suppliers which you have to pay. The payment assistant, it will just list down all the different invoices lines which are currently remaining to be paid or to be received, depending upon the payment type. So here also, if you would want, you can go inside, and this is more like a payment voucher. So if you want, you can also pay from the payment sessions, and this will give you all the information related to it. You can also view the supplier invoices, so the invoices which are remaining currently to be paid. And so it's just a quick way to go into the invoice and register the payment for it. And then the periodical process, here you manage all your monthly or quarterly or the yearly processes that you have to run to keep your books intact, to follow all the government guidelines, to follow all the compliance rules. And this you can do by using the reconciliation, which gives you the reconciliation of all the journal entries that you've been doing. So all the cash entries that you have been doing. So there is a lettering sequence that creates for each of the payments or that has been generated. So for example, for the move lines these, there was a reconcile list also generated, and this helps you to do the matching of the statement lines. Now, this is not the bank statement reconciliation. For the bank statement reconciliation, we have under the bank reconciliation. So if you go into the bank reconciliation, you can click on a new one and select your particular account and use this particular format to load your bank statement and then do the bank reconciliations. Moving forward, you can also manage your debt recovery. So in case you have already, so you were going to receive the money from your customer, but the customer is not paying and you want to probably mark it as a bad debt, or maybe if you feel like it's going to be recovered, so you can always create a new debt recovery, and this will be available here. Then under the bank statements, you can import a bank statement, whichever bank you are using, and using the import option here. So please mark that currently we are only able to import the bank statement from these particular formats. So if these formats are available for the bank that you are using for your business, so that would be pretty good. Otherwise, a new format can be created for importing your bank statement. Once you import your bank statement, under the bank statement lines, all the different lines from your bank statement will be loaded. Now, once, let's say you have been doing all the journal entries, you have been logging all, and now you want to view how your company's been doing. So then the reporting part actually comes into the picture, and that all the reports for viewing the critical aspects of the business processes of a company, you can go into the accounting reports and create a new one. And we have a very dynamic reporting structure. And by dynamic, what I mean is either you can select a report type of the standard ones which are already available. So let's quickly view how let's say I want to view how my general ledger actually looks like. And I will just select the particular currency, and I would select the period for which I would want to view my general ledger. So I'm not sure if there is an entry for this particular period, but I would just select this one as of now. Also, if you would want to filter out any particular accounts out of your general ledger, you can also list down those particular accounts here. And in that case, the report that we generate for the general ledger will only list down the balances for these particular accounts that you list here. You can also select some default partners or customers if you would want to. And under the printing configuration, you can also specify some other functionalities, how if you want to display the opening accounting moves to or the closing accounting, and some other display options for your report. As of now, we are good to go. So we are just going to print it. And we can see the current format. So I think I didn't have any journal entry log for this particular period. So it's not currently listing. Maybe I'll just select another period. We are into sixth one. Let's see if we get some journal entries. Yeah. So for the June month, these are the general entries which have been locked down, and we can see these are also categorized or separated by different account wise. And I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit so it's gonna be visible to everyone. And it's going to give us all the information which are generated in the move lines, and quite useful to quickly view the account balances. And if there is a particular difference in the debit and credit, you always want to ensure that your books are always balanced, and in that case it should never be zero. If in case it is, so then you should always critically view if there is a mismatch or if there is something missing in the journal entries. But what if I actually don't want to use any of the standard reports which are available, and instead I want to create a report of my own type? So that also can be done from the functional usage itself. You don't have to go into the backend or development. Axelor gives you the functionality to create a new report, a custom report based upon your particular use case. So for that, you have to go into the configurations, export imports, and the report types. So here you can create a new one, and the printing output, you can select um, a custom state. So now when you select a custom state, you can list down the different accounts or sequence, or how you actually want to create the whole report type. So I'm just gonna name it like, let's say, income statement, and change the name for this too. And my company is already selected. And now here I can list down my column rules and my line rules. So how to use these functionalities? Let's create a new one and select a type value. And let's select a rule type of as sum of accounts, and give it a name, balance. In the result, you can select debit minus credit or same as line, or depending upon the requirement. I'm just gonna select same as line, and just select okay, not here. I'm just gonna select the income accounts and click on OK. So this is my column of my report, and now each row I have to define it separately. So first I'm just gonna select the rule, and let's say it's just a title or a header. So I'm just gonna give it more like a revenue. I can also maybe make it bold and set a priority to be 1. And after this, I can select now my particular account which I would want to use it. Let's say this is my income product sales, and let's give it C. And under here, I would just make it credit minus debit, because your revenue or your income account is mostly credited. So I'm just going to use the credit minus debited. And now I can either select all the accounts from the account types, or I can just select a particular account. So from here, I can just create a filter so I can view all my income accounts. And I'm just going to select the first one, which is more specific to products that I sell. So click on OK. I'm going to create another one again, and credit minus debit. Select another account, go into the income. And this time I'm probably, let's say, select the revenue account for my services sold. And this gives me 2 of the accounts. And so before we add more accounts, let's just quickly view how this report is viewed now. So we have created like a small template, some rules and lines. And if we, let's see if it's working properly as we actually would want to. So create a new one, and under the report type, let's see if our report is actually created here. So we have the income statement, and we can see the printing output is custom state. And export type PDF, you can also select other methods if you would want to. Select the fiscal year, and if you also want to specify a particular period, you can specify, or you can just leave the whole for the whole year. And we also now have the functionality, if you would want in the report itself a comparison with the previous period. So this is quite useful when you want to do a comparison between a particular report, how your accounts are are functioning in this particular period and how they were actually in the previous period. So nothing more, and let's see if this prints out a report. Okay, pretty cool. So within no time, we were actually able to create a custom report of our own particular use case, and we were able to specify some of the details. And this is a very simple report that I have created. Using the report type, you can do or create a lot of things. So currently, I'm just balancing, or in the report, I'm just describing the values. But what if I actually want a custom rule? So those also you can specify here. Let's say I want to actually now have a total sales value. So for that, I can do this. And what I have to specify is a rule which describes. See if this works. I don't remember if I have actually put up the rule in the proper format, but if it works, it should be. But otherwise, that's the way. I hope you got the intention. Okay, so it does give me something, but I think I put the information incorrect. So uh, the intention was to actually get the sum of all the accounts that I'm listing above. And for that, you can easily do it using creating another line rule, and here you can specify the custom rule itself. So as of now, because I have to probably change the code for the previous line, and then it should work pretty well. So so we have currently, I think, in a pretty short time, covered how to manage your book entries, how to make it automatic process, how the invoicing work, the different functionalities. And I think as of now, although it looks like I have covered some of the aspects, but this is only 20 to 30% that you can actually manage from Axelor Accounting. There are pretty well developed functionalities. You can create your budgets. Your budgets are also, you can create different budget lines. These budget lines can also be linked or be used for projects on your purchase orders and fixed assets. So different ways of you can create all the different fixed assets categories. Inside the fixed asset category, you can also specify the computation method, whether it's a linear or digressive, specify the number of depreciation, and then whenever you create a new fixed asset, you can specify the particular asset category, and automatically all the information will be filled up. How long your depreciation should work, when is your first depreciation date, which particular accounts are going to be hit. So all those information can be also be pretty useful when you want to manage your fixed assets. Under the configuration, we touched some of the parts where we looked into the different financial functionalities that are available, how to load a chart of account, the journal periods. So also the another thing you have to create is a period in which your journal entries will be locked down. So whenever you create a period, remember to also input the reported balance date, because this is the date um, just after the closing of your fiscal period. So if my fiscal period or my fiscal year is from 1st of January to 31st of December, so my reported balance date would be either the first, second, or it should be in the first week of balance date next year, because that is the general uh, principle method followed in accounting process, where you close your books for the whole year, and the reported balance date is the first week of the next year. So, and then all the periods that are generated, you can specify the period duration, whether if you're using monthly or quarterly or maybe even half yearly. So accordingly, the system will generate those periods. So whenever you are creating a new journal entry, or you are basically logging down transaction, so automatically, depending upon the date of the transaction or the invoice, it will be categorized into the particular period. Apart from it, you have the taxes. Under the taxes tab, you can create the different taxes that are applicable and used within your country. So those are then automatically set up on the products or how to use it in the accounting families. So if we go, so accounting families, it's pretty useful because it's used in how you want to categorize your products into some categories. So for example, all my products which are of equipment type, I want to use some default purchase account, the default tax to be used, and my sales account also, and my sales tax. So the same way you can create different accounting families, and then when you create a product, those can be used to generate automatic journal entries. So it's quite overwhelming. There are a lot of functionalities in the accounting applications, and to manage almost all your accounting processes, I just give you a very glimpse of how the processes and functionalities work. If you want to learn more about it, let us know. Also, since we are open source, you can always download the latest version from the GitHub. Try it. Try to run how you are currently running your business processes, your accounting processes, and let us know how Axelor Accounting has been able to make your accounting process better. Thank you for coming up for today's event. It's lovely to see some of the people. It's good to see all the new ones also who has joined us for today for the first time. Do contact us. Our business team would be happy to take it further and see how we can actually help you in any possible way, how to digitize your business processes in other ways, in maybe a partnership also. So thank you, everyone.